anyways. And there's also a tree in here I'm trying to find. It's a rare oak for this area. This is Tiburon, California, North Bay area. It's a Shriver's oak. Actually, it's a Quercus shrevei. A Shreve Oak is how you're supposed to say it. Zubat pole saw, which is, they don't sell in the United States anymore. How that debacle happened, I have no idea. And I've got my Zubat strapped to my side. I can get a lot done just with hand tools. So here it is. That's the Shreve Oak right there. It's got a, well, it's not only got the English ivy growing up around it, but it's also got a non-native wild plum growing all around it. I'm going to take away the wild plum, and there's another wild plum right here that's right in the way. It's choking it. I'm going to free up the area around it. Here's a native toyon, but the toyon is kind of interlaced with it. Have its space, you know, so it can develop. So this whole thing right here is wild plum. That's got to go. It's half dead anyways. This right here is mostly, well, this side is totally dead. It's all dried out, and this wood, wild plum, when this stuff dries, it becomes as hard as a rock. And I'm gonna do it all with hand saws with my Zubat. I have my Camiso Rime in the back of my trunk of my car. I'll probably bring that out. This tree's gonna be so happy to have its space. This is the right time of year to do it. This is early winter, late fall. Okay, I didn't bring my tripod and stuff, so that's why I'm not videoing myself. I'm gonna try to hold my camera with one hand, my phone with one hand, and cut with the other one hand. Just show you how fast this Zubat cuts. And this Zubat's blade is not new. It's been used for a while. Plachink. Boy, these things sure do make a nice smooth cut. Look at that. It's nice and smooth. Oh man, I love silky products. And the branches arranged with the butt ends all facing one direction, so it'll be easy for the person that does the haul out of this material. The thing is, if you do it in an organized manner, you can take up less space. So I can probably pack 2 small trees in this little space right here. Pack them in here. If I cut the branches, trim them, keep the butt ends all one direction. Trying to do all this with one hand. Kerplunk. All right. That went through really quick. You can see it where it was embedding against the tree there. Left a mark, a molded shape against the Shreve Oak. This right here is actually part of the Shreve Oak. A branch that grew from way down there. It grew up and it directed itself through the crotch of its own tree, of one of the upper stems, the main upper stem here. What do? Now here's the thing, the Shreve Oak, it has a branch up there that's been chewed on. I can see it's been chewed on by squirrels or some kind of rodent. They do that, they ring branches. It's been ringed up in there. So this tree's already stressed out. So people would ask the question, are you gonna remove this branch? I don't know. I'm gonna leave it for now, because you know what? If I leave it, I can always come back and cut it later. And I just wanna see how this tree holds up in the first year of being opened up and freed. From this wild plum, which has choked itself into this tree here. And this is the wild plum here. This is gonna come out. You know, part of me says, yeah, cut that branch out, because it's a misshapen, you know, for textbook anatomical structure for trees. You don't want another branch growing inside the crotch. You don't want to branch from a tree, well, especially the same tree. Well, especially if it's another tree, you wouldn't want it. But if it's the same tree growing into another crotch, what'll happen is as it increases in diameter over the years, and that crotch stems grow in diameter, it can pinch and squeeze. You're gonna have just not a good situation. But at the same time, I want to leave as much vegetation on this tree that is photosynthesizing, because this tree needs it, and I don't want this tree to be too shocked. So I'm gonna leave it for now. Well, it's getting cleaned up. Little silky saw is working good. This right here, this wild plum, it's actually dead. I'm gonna take it out and I'll show you something here. When you have a tree that's standing up, people might say, okay, why don't you just cut the whole thing down? Get it down quick, cut it right there. I still have to disassemble it. This area is very congested for space, as you can see. Very congested area. If you disassemble the tree and take off the branches at their joints, you can have straighter branches, and when you stack them, they'll stack more compactly and take up less room. So since the tree is standing, I'm holding the camera with one hand. So if the tree is standing, it's supported. So you might as well disassemble it while it's standing. Have to cut from the opposite side. That guy got thorns on here. Wild plum, very common. See, when you trim your branches all up, when you stack them all parallel, one direction, butt ends facing one direction, you get everything more compact, and it makes it easier for the ground crew that's going to come in later and haul away all this stuff. So, what this land is really dying for, but this is the Bay Area, is this land is dying to have a fire, and you can't have fires in here. Fires, the ashes, not only return trace minerals back to the soil, they also increase the CEC, the cation exchange capacity in the soil, 2 to 3 times more, which helps with the uptake of nitrogen and other nutrients, and things just grow much better. It actually, anything that improves the CEC in the soil is good for growth. And I think also burning, purges the vegetation of sickness and disease. But here in the Bay Area, they don't want any fires. So all the wood gets hauled away or chipped. So any disease that's in the wood or any non-beneficial fungus gets transferred back into the soil. Things like sudden oak death and all that stuff just gets transferred back into the soil because they don't allow burning in the Bay Area. And the Bay Area has lots of areas like this that are very sick. The trees are getting sicker. The North Bay is not as bad. The South Bay, the sudden oak death is really bad in the South Bay. But anyways, I'll get in trouble for talking about this too much because you can't do that here. So the soil is suffering here. The plants are suffering because this ground needs a recharge. It needs the cation exchange. It needs the purification of fire. And people that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Time to break out the big gun, the Kamiso Rime. Took about 30 seconds. It was pretty hard wood. Hook the blade in the crotch there. Trying to do this with one hand. So this is what it looks like with the English ivy cleared away from the base. This right here is the wild plum wrapped around the Shreve Oak, or the Shreve Oak is actually wrapped around the wild plum. And so I'm going to take it apart with my Kamiso Rime. I took 3 minutes, 1 whole minute to do this, 1 minute and 54 seconds to do this guy. And that's hard, dry, dead wild plum, which is when it dries, it's as hard as oak, maybe a little bit harder. This bottom part, I'll come back later, take it out with my chainsaw. I just don't feel like using my Kamisurimi to go through dead, hard, dry. Plus it's gonna dull the blade unnecessarily just to make a video. Nope, not doing it. I'll take that out, I'll bring my chainsaw next week, come down here. I'm not in my hometown, I'm 2 hours away right now. This Shreve Oak is really gonna love it. There it is. It's already looking happier. See, that was where the ivy was growing, where I pulled that out. Those aren't nicks for my handsaw. That's where I yanked out ivy and it left marks. But these leaves remind me of canyon live oak, because canyon live oak do this where they get bigger, the leaves become smooth, like this. The edges are smooth. And then you find in the lower branches of canyon live oaks, you'll find mixed in leaves like this that are serrated. Well, here's a before, and here is the after. That tree's gonna be a lot happier. Thanks for watching, you guys. Hey, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. It really helps me out with the algorithm and all that.